When you think of that turbulent decade known as the 80s, it's hard to decide what was the most important event or image.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much going on. You had the fall of the Berlin Wall, you had the invention of the Post-it, and of course there was this.
But despite all of those monumental events, it is the comics of the 80s that we've decided to focus on today, since they were obviously the most important thing to happen.
That and that we're a comic book review show.
Yeah.
Now, we obviously don't have enough time to look at every title released between 1980 and 1989.
Not quite.
No.
Yeah.
So instead, we decided to focus on a few creators who we believe released some of their best work during that decade.
Yes, beginning with multi-award-winning writer, magician, and Rasputin lookalike, Mr. Alan Moore. Now, in the early 80s, Moore was working as a freelance writer for several publications such as 2000 AD and the anthology magazine Warrior. It was in Warrior that he began the fantastic series V for Vendetta, the story of a masked anarchist resorting to terrorist acts in an effort to undermine the fascist British government of a post-nuclear future. Unfortunately, Warrior was cancelled before V could be completed.
Yeah, thankfully, though, the title was reprinted in colour and completed in 1988 under the DC Vertigo imprint. DC brought Moore on staff largely due to the success of his work for 2000 AD, such as The Ballad of Halo Jones. His first assignment was revamping the Swamp Thing series, until then a by-the-numbers monster comic, which he turned around and used to introduce new characters, such as John Constantine.
Moore was also responsible for defining moments in the careers of both Superman, with Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, and Batman, with The Killing Joke. For me, though, the pinnacle of his DC career was with the outstanding Watchmen series.
Long before Kick-Ass hit the shelves, Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons' Watchmen series showed us what the world would be like if regular men and women pulled on a pair of tights and started punching bad guys. Filled to the brim with Moore's trademark dark wit and socio-political commentary, Watchmen is one of the greatest comic book series.
Absolutely. Now, moving along, we come to a creator who is beloved of Batman fans the world over, having done more to define the Dark Knight as we know him today than just about anyone else, the legendary Frank Miller.
Starting off as a fill-in artist for various projects, Miller got his first regular gig penciling for the bi-monthly Daredevil title, which at the time was a poor seller with a low-profile hero. However, within 3 issues of Miller taking over as writer, the title went from bi-monthly to monthly, and Matt Murdock was well on his way to becoming one of Marvel's most popular characters.
Inspired by his research into martial arts and samurai ethics for Daredevil, Miller wrote and penciled his first creator-owned title, Ronin, in 1983. Ronin is the story of a masterless samurai, reincarnated 8 centuries after his death to battle again in a dystopian future New York. The title was published by DC and was a huge success.
And not his last success with DC either. With the game-changing Dark Knight Returns, Miller gave us a look into Batman's possible future, donning the cowl in his mid-50s after a decade in retirement. Then Miller jumped back in time to the start of Bruce Wayne's vigilante career with Batman Year One, retconning his origin story to fit in with details from The Dark Knight Returns, and effectively bookending the Batman legend.
Both books remain massive sellers today, and will feature in just about every top 5 Batman books list you're ever likely to find, including our own.
Yeah. Now, you know, seeing as how we're discussing the influential comics of the 80s, it would be an absolute crime if we didn't mention the first and, so far, only graphic novel ever to win a Pulitzer Prize. Written by Art Spiegelman, Mouse, A Survivor's Tale is a heart-rendingly personal story about the Holocaust that makes use of anthropomorphic characters to bring home the tragedy in a way that has never been experienced before. It also changed what we thought was possible within the comic medium.
Which is what was so amazing about comics in the 80s. You know, there was a new direction to these stories, a tone that was edgy and adult. Creators like Moore, Miller and Spiegelman, just to name a few, were trailblazers who opened a door to the kind of high-concept storytelling that we enjoy today.
Yeah, of course, there was a bit of a backlash towards the end of the 80s, with both Miller and Moore, among others, leaving DC over disputes regarding censorship.
Yeah, but that's a tale for another time. Possibly in a special where we focus on the 90s.
Ooh, what would you wear for that?
I'm thinking head to toe in denim.
Nice.
Timberlake
nice,
style.
Yeah. No, I'd go like a really oversized paisley sweater. No, a hypercolour t-shirt.
Now that is fashion.